Hello and welcome to the OWC instructional series of videos. In this installment, we're going to show you how to upgrade the hard drive in a late 2012 or 2013 27-inch iMac. In this video, we'll be upgrading a 2012 iMac, but the instructions are the same for the 2013 model. You should watch this video in its entirety before attempting this upgrade. This is an extremely difficult process, and professional installation is recommended. We've already gathered our materials, shut down and unplugged the iMac, and are working on a soft, static-free work surface. We are now ready to begin. In the lower right corner, insert just the tip of a nylon pry tool from the newer Tech toolkit between the display glass and the chassis. Run the pry tool up the side just enough to create a gap wide enough for the removal tool. Slowly work the removal tool all along the edges of the iMac, taking care not to push the tool in too deep or pull out too far on the glass. This may take some time. The corners may be a little tricky, so you may need to go over them a couple of times. When near the camera, insert the removal tool only as far as the very edge of the iSight camera port so as not to damage the camera itself. Continue around the iMac until you reach the other side. You may now lay the iMac face up on your work surface and attach the suction cups to the upper corners. Do one last check to make sure you've loosened all the adhesive around the edges of the iMac. Then lift up on the glass using the suction cups until you can see the cables inside. The outermost cable should slide right out of its socket. To detach the innermost cable, first lift up on the black plastic tab to unlatch it, then slide it out of its socket as well. You can now angle the screen perpendicular to the iMac. Use your removal tool along the bottom edge of the screen to weaken the adhesive. Then, use the tabs near the lower corners of the iMac to peel the adhesive strip away. You may now lift the screen away from the iMac. The easiest way to remove the drive is to first move the speaker panel over. Do this by loosening these two Torx T10 screws Then, lift the speaker up and to the side. You should now see two Torx T10 mounting screws, which you can remove. Once these are removed, you should be able to slide the drive over, then lift it up and out of the bay. Finally, disconnect the SATA cable by simply sliding the connector out of its socket and remove the drive completely from the iMac. The last thing we'll need to do is peel up any adhesive remaining around the edges of the iMac. Then, do the same on the display itself. We are now ready to install the new drive. Slide the mounting bracket from the pins on the drive. You can now remove the pins themselves with your Torx T8 screwdriver and attach them in the same places to the new drive. Attach the SATA connectors on the OWC sensor cable to the connectors on the new drive. Then flip the drive over. Remove the backing that covers the adhesive strip on the bottom of the sensor and press the sensor into place on a metal part of the drive near the spindle. Finally, with the SATA connector facing toward you, slide the bracket onto the metal pins on the right side of the drive. Your drive is now ready to install into the iMac. Slide these two pins on the drive into these two grommets then secure the other bracket with its two Torx T10 screws. Attach the iMac SATA cable to the other side of the OWC sensor, then arrange the cables so they lay flat off to the side. We can now set the speaker back into place and secure it. Now it's time to replace the adhesive that holds the display in place. Peel off the paper covering each strip and position them so they sit where the original tape sat. For the corners, you may need to trim the pieces a little bit. Along the top edge, make sure you leave a gap near the iSight camera so that it isn't covered. For the bottom edge, you'll only need 3 strips, one in each corner, and one in the center. You can now remove the paper backing on the other side and set the display along the bottom edge, but don't close it all the way yet because we need to reconnect the video cables. Reattach the centermost cable by sliding the connector into its socket and locking it into place with the handle. Then, simply slide the outermost connector into its socket and press the cable into its channel. You can now carefully lower the display into place, making sure you have the edges lined up correctly. Gently squeeze along the edges to make sure the adhesive sticks. You can then detach the suction cups and set your iMac upright. Finally, clean the fingerprints and any other marks off your iMac, and you're ready to plug it back in, hook it up, and turn it on.